Hi YouTube, it's Bert from Rentals on Point, and today I'll be showing you guys how to install a garage door weather strip. Now, this is what my door currently looks like. Okay, so there's the gap that I'll be covering with the weather strip. It's fairly big, right? It's enough to let a lot of air get into the garage, especially during winter. Here in Canada, it's super cold. All right, so that's the opposite side that I'll be covering with the weather strip. The top is fairly sealed, but I'll still install the weather strip. Okay, so here are some of the tools that I'll be using to install the garage door weather strip. Now, you always want to put safety first, so I got some safety glasses here that I'll be wearing. Now, I highly recommend that you wear them as well if you're gonna be doing this kind of job. It's just much safer to protect your eyes. It's not worth losing an eye over installing a garage door weather strip. I have a 18 gauge brad nailer that I'll be nailing the weather strips temporarily in place as I'm doing the job myself. And then I'll use this impact drill to drive these wood screws through the weather strip that will go through the door jamb as well. I have a measuring tape, obviously, to measure the distances that I'll need to cut. I'll be using a miter saw to make my cuts. Now, if you don't own a miter saw, if you don't have access to one, you could also use a utility knife. I'll be using a miter saw only because it's much easier and faster for me to make my cuts. The product that I'll be using is manufactured by Royal Building Products. I purchased it from Home Depot. I got 4 of them. My garage door measures 16 feet in length and 7 feet in height. So they come in 9 feet and 7 feet. So I got 4 in total. All right, so that's it. Let's go outside and then I'll show you guys how to install it. Okay, so we're outside now. Prior to me taking my measurements, I'll install the top piece first. So here, I'm just placing it in place. Want it nice and snug. Now, this is flexible. You want to push it in so it's nice and tight against the door. Technically, I can get away with just the brad nails, but for you guys that don't have a brad nailer, you can use the wood screws. So there's little holes like I showed you guys previously. Now this is overkill, but for video purposes, I'm showing you guys the alternative if you don't have a brad nailer. Okay, so you want to go along the sides. So this makes it much secure. Okay, so now I'm just taking my measurements for the remaining portion of the top piece, and it turns out to be 81 inches and 7/8. Okay, so now I'm just making my cut for the remainder of the top piece. It was 81 7/8. so now that I made my cut, I'll go ahead and snug this in place. Make sure it's nice and tight. There you go. Just use my brad nail the middle first. Just push it towards the door. Because this door is not fully leveled, you have to push it in wherever possible. There you go. It's nice and tight. So now that I've installed the top piece, I'll go ahead and take my measurements. Okay, so this side measure is 82 and a half, so that's 82 inches and a half. And then on this side of the door jamb, it measures 83 inches. Okay, so I'm gonna head over to the miter saw and make my cuts. Okay, so now that I made my cuts, I'll place it in place. Make sure it's nice and snug. Okay, so there's a nice seal now. I'll grab my impact drill. What a difference. Okay, now for the last door jamb, I'm going to show you guys how to install it if you don't have a brad nailer. All you would do is simply place a screw along the length and just drill it slightly. And you can do this for the top pieces as well. It's much easier. Once again, this is if you don't have a brad nailer. Just like that. And then it makes it much easier when you're ready to drill. Okay, so they're all in place now. I can just pick it up. And then you do the same thing you did on the opposite side. Just place it in place and then drive the screw in. That's it. Okay, so this is how it looks now compared to before. I'm very happy the way it turned out. It's sealed along the top as well. And this is the opposite side. so it seals completely once the door's shut. That's what matters the most. So that sums up how to install a garage door weather strip. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment box below. Also, like the video, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. So that's it. It's Bert from Rentals on Point. Take care.